This episode of Anchored in Milwaukee, the official podcast of FC Milwaukee Torrent, is sponsored by Atlanta Mortgage, Sobelman's Pub, Associated Bank, and Orenda Cafe. If you'd like to learn more about sponsoring the club, email us at sales@milwaukeetorrent.com. Welcome back. It's Anchored in Milwaukee, the official podcast of FC Milwaukee Torrent. I'm your host, Luke. I'm excited to be with you. We're going to be talking Super Y today. We have three great guests that'll join us later to talk about the Youth League, which will feature 11 FC Milwaukee Torrent teams this year. But before we can get to that, we have so much news to cover, so let's jump in. We'll start out with some player signings. We have some new and familiar faces being announced to the roster. We're going to start on the women's side, where the following players were added. Midfielder Natalie Yas will return to the team. Joining her will be some new faces, including forward Liz Bukers, defender Shannon McWilliams, and defender Katie Swenson. Katie is the sister of FC Torrent captain Kelly Swenson. The men added defender Shamar DeGaines from Trinidad and Tobago, as well as defender Michael Caron and midfielder Emiliano Caballero. Those three players will be joined by two returning faces. The first player signed in FC Torrent history and former Anchored in Milwaukee guest, James Weber, has signed on to return. Joining James in the attack is forward and fan favorite Isaac Pareja. The men's team released its schedule for the MPSL regular season. The complete schedule can be found on the Torrent's website, but mark your calendar now for the home opener, May 15th at Hart Park versus Chicago Panathinaikos. The women's schedule, though not announced, will be finalized shortly. Season tickets are available at www.milwaukeetorrent.com. Tickets include both men and women's games, and right now there's a special that includes a jersey, so check that out. If you think you can make the men's team, then you should register for the open tryout that's being held April 19th at Hart Park. Head to the website for registration info. The inaugural girls' camp at Hart Park was recently announced as sold out. But the joint youth camp that FC Milwaukee Torrent hold annually with Bayer Leverkusen is close to being sold out. There's a few spots left, so jump on them now if you think your child wants to attend. Now we're going to be talking a little bit about a new adventure that FC Milwaukee Torrent is going to be undertaking this season. They have joined the Super Y Youth League, and not just in a small way. The Torrents have made a big splash, starting with 11 teams, 5 girl teams, 6 boys teams that will competing. We're going to have a few different guests on to tell us about the league. But to start with, we want to welcome back founder and owner, Andy Davi. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me again.
Always lovely to have you on. Now, tell us a little bit about the Super League, the Y League, and why it's a good fit for the Milwaukee Torrent.
Yeah, first of all, we are very, very happy that we could join a league like this. I mean, Super Y is owned by USL and a very prestigious league. The reason why I thought it's a great fit for the Milwaukee Torrent, like with everything we do, the Milwaukee Torrent stands for opportunities. And what I missed since I am in the US, I still don't understand why the kids are off in the summer. Those are the best months for us, some of the best months to play soccer, mid-June, July, and half of August. And I think it will be good months for competition, specifically for us that we're so handicapped with the weather. I mean, let's face it, from November till March, we hardly can be outside, and that's 5 months. We are lucky this year with the weather. I mean that we can go out already. But I remember 3 years ago we shoveled snow first week of May from Hart Park to have a scrimmage. So if you take this in mind, then you talk really about like 7 months of winter where you can go outside. And so I always wanted to find something and do something where I can offer competitive soccer for the kids during the summer. And with the Super Y, that opportunity is there. It will be different from what people are used before. because coaches have basically the order that we're going to do this to win games. It's only a 7-week program. We really want to qualify for the nationals. We want to win national championships, and it's a great opportunity for the Torrent itself, for all the players, and for the coaches.
When did the idea come to you that you wanted to do this?
That was actually an idea to have something like this with the beginning of the Torrent. I never really thought about the Super Y. And I got approached from a lot of people who asked me, Andy, why don't you start your own soccer club, your own youth club? And my answer is always the same. The state of Wisconsin, we don't need another youth club because we have enough. I mean, if you think about all the clubs in the area that we already have, if you have another one, and with all the mergers are going on now, I mean, there are only so and so many kids in the region. And you need to see that everybody stays there. And also, to be honest, of all those existing soccer clubs, I mean, if you see it realistically, those are the feeder programs for the Milwaukee Torrent at one point. It doesn't matter if it's male or female. And there's so many clubs, specifically now during Corona, who have very, very big problems. And I think putting another youth club out doesn't make it easier. But again, I wanted an opportunity. And with this opportunity, we do not hurt anybody. We give people the opportunity to play. This is not a recruitment program of coaches or for myself, for other clubs. This is an opportunity that the kids need. This is for the Torrent something where we can win against families for the Milwaukee Torrent, meaning come visit our camps, come to the Torrent games. Don't worry what jersey you wear in Milwaukee. The Torrent is there for everybody, and we just give you here another opportunity. The idea about this actually came up when I talked with the USL about joining the USL. And yeah, I think 3 days later, I signed the contract. That's actually how it was. So it was also for us one footstep into the USL. Everybody obviously know that there is a thing. We have medicine in the USL. It's not easy to get into USL with territory rights. But yeah, so I always wanted to do something like this, but the idea about Super Y really came just up when I was talking to the USL.
How did you go about putting together a coaching staff? Because you have 11 teams, you have 9 head coaches on board that'll be managing those. I mean, you already have a head coach on your men's team who's won a national championship in the Super Y. How did that process play out?
Well, that wasn't easy. You can imagine that everybody knows that Cacho and I, we are involved with Strike FC. We need to be a little bit careful because we didn't want that people think this is basically a Strike FC program. On the other side, it is not easy to get coaches because other clubs do not want that their coaches coach somewhere else or for the Milwaukee Torrent. And I contacted, I don't want to say many coaches because I just wanted to have high quality. But there were a lot of coaches who basically said, we would like to do this, but our club won't let us. So my plan was normally, I didn't want that one coach coaches 2 teams just because of scheduling conflicts. What a very big advantage is in the USL, they really involve you in the scheduling process. So we have 2 coaches who are going to coach 2 teams. That is Steve Proben and Alex Tozer. And each of them, they have a younger team and a high school team. The rest of the coaches, they have all one team. Cacho obviously cannot coach because he has the obligations with the men's team. I can coach. I have the obligations with the women's team. And like I said, for me, it was clear that we don't take a coach because I really want that there's no conflict on the coaches. And I think we had a very good selection. The thing about this also with the coaches, they're normally used to have the summer off. They have their families, and you have to understand and respect that. And then, like I said, it's during the summer. It is 7 weeks. We have 3 times a week practices in the evenings. But at the end, I'm very happy with the coaching staff. We have, I think, a good mix of coaches who are not involved with Strike FC. I mean, Scott Kreitmeyer is going to coach for us. Steve Proven is going to coach for us. Colin Monahan is going to coach for us. He's from East Troy. Colin actually won with me in the NPSL regionals and went with me to nationals. Was it 2011 or 2012? So I followed him a little bit. He coaches in East Troy. He coaches a girls team, and I'm very happy about what we have. So yeah, I'm looking very forward to work with all those guys.
What do you think would be a successful year for this first summer of Torrent in the Super Y? How will you view success?
Well, this is already a big success. You have to understand, Luke, this is our first year, and the Milwaukee Torrent doesn't even have a youth program under its umbrella. And we have 11 teams. I think a few weeks ago, I published 9 teams. Now we're at 11 teams. We have 172 kids so far out of 8 different clubs. The Milwaukee Torrent is the team in the USL who fields the most teams in our first year. This is a huge success. That is something that I'm very, very proud of, that we could do that. We have so many new people coming into the Torrent. We have still players. They're going to try out, because the one thing that's going to happen is now we go outdoor and families think, oh great, now we have outdoor soccer. What are we going to do in the summer? But like I said, this is already more than I could think of, because remember, I registered 4 teams at the beginning. When the USL asked me, okay, with how many teams do you want going to start? And I just said, okay, let's do 2 boys, 2 girls. Well, now we're at 11. But other than this, as you know me, I want to win every single game that we play in. And this is one thing where I told players and parents, this is a very easy, not easy on the field, but it's a very easy opportunity to play for a national championship. And I want to win national championships. This is why we did this. I mean, it's again something for the parents who are the customers. They pay money for something, and they understand what we're trying to do. And as successful as we already were with starting this program with all the kids, the next step of success is obviously we want to win games and we want to qualify for nationals. And if we have teams who qualify for nationals, we want to win those national championships. But however, I am already super happy with everything we have accomplished so far.
It's clear that big things are on the horizon. Owner, founder, Andy Davi, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Our next guest is familiar to the podcast. We welcome back Cacho, the coach of the FC Milwaukee Torrent men's team, who has a very special connection to the Super Y League. Coach, you won a national championship in this competition, didn't you?
Yeah, I was very lucky. It doesn't happen every day, and I was lucky to have a good team. Sometimes that's what it takes.
Tell us a little bit about that experience. I mean, what was the process like of getting to that title?
Well, first the year before with the same team, we got our heart broke over there, because we also get closer. We lost it in PKs too. We win it in PKs, and the year before we lose in PK. But the thing was that we was winning 1-0 that game against Cleveland International, a very, very good club in the Midwest. In my opinion, one of the best clubs in the Midwest. And winning 1-0, and with 20 seconds to go, I can see with my nephew and I was coaching the team, so we was looking across the field, and we were seeing the parents, getting nuts, getting crazy. And the phone, we see a lot of them in the phone, probably calling to Wisconsin, hey, we got it. It was just 20 seconds. And, in soccer, you cannot celebrate until the referee blows the whistle. And their goalie just get the ball, make a kick, the ball make a funny bounce, like this, like that. One of them just kicked the ball, and the ball was like in a slow motion, just going there. Our goalie just diving, and the ball hit the post and went in. So they tied the game. We went to PKs, and we lost it in the year before we win it, And that was sad, because the way everybody feel, So, but then we have the chance the next year. So the thing was that the girls get stronger. They just say, we got to come back. We have to come back. And they did it. We come back the following year. So we get ready. We did a great season. And we went also to the finals. We win all our games, and we tied the last one. So a game and penalty kicks, So, and in this part, it was kind of interesting, because before we went to the finals, we got some problems with injuries. So what happened was that we get at the end of the season with only 11 players from the original team, just 11. With injuries, we got, so we got kind of lucky. Then the younger team, lucky in the same thing. We got players, not lucky for them because they don't qualify to go there, but we get 7 young players to come with us to the final. So we got 11 players. It was the original age, and 7 of the kind of the best player from the younger team. So there was a combination, say, okay, they know how that was going to work. But it works pretty well, because we went to the finals, and the younger girls respond tremendously. They just that was good, So we win everything, and then we went to the final. We tied, penalty kicks, and then we got here a big surprise. Our starting players, the one who was the year before, they was kind of getting in their heads the same thing than the year before, and they don't want to take a PKs. So we say, okay, if the older ones don't want to take a PK, who's going to take it? The younger ones, because they was not part of that the year before, they was okay. They was in heaven at that moment. They did well, and they say, we can take it. So the younger girls, the girls play a fantastic finals. They just was unbelievable. They play very well. But the younger girls, at the end of the day, they step up to take the PKs. So that was the way it was. And our the goalie was phenomenal. She saved the first 3 PKs. So the younger girls, they just take it like they was the most experienced players in the world. They was just so calm and so, they went tag, 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 and then we win the national title, with a combination of two ages, a younger ones who respond to that moment, beautiful, because they was not scared at all. They was just not. They just it was. I think that the help of the older players made them feel it that way. So there was a great moment, and very nice. The parents who went there, some of them they was with us for a long time. They was some of them they say, you knew it about this. To me and my nephew, they told us, with that in that one moment with that team that was going to happen. The team was very good. That Mequon United girls team that was very, very good. So I said, we really dreamed this. We know that was going to happen. With that, it was last year. The year before, that was the best year. Unfortunately, we lost it in PKs, but the players that then they couldn't do it, and coaches sometimes we are part of that, but at the end of the day, are the players who win it. So there was a beautiful experience.
What do you think makes this league so special for the kids that get to play in it?
Well, it is it's a combination of everything. One of the things then we did at that moment with Mequon was that when we start, the games was all over the place. You have to drive in one day to Des Moines, another game to Minnesota. Then the league kind of changed a little bit, and they start putting for example, Fort Wayne, Indiana. They was making like a regional event there. So all the teams from Michigan, Ohio, Kansas City, Wisconsin, Illinois, Canada, Toronto was involved. Everybody meet on one place. So we was going in 3 or 4 weekends every 3 or 4 games in every weekend. Normally it was 3 games, and you got the chance to play the teams in your conference. So that was great. And then what we did was just we just started going in buses, took the bus. So some playing in Indiana, our first game, let's go say, was at 10 o'clock in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning. In the summer, it's okay. But for us, it was just to go to Fort Wayne, Indiana. It took like 6 hours. So sometimes one team was paying the price. So the one who played at 8 o'clock in the morning, we was leaving the parking right in Highway 43 and Brody Road. You can see everybody coming, the kids coming with the pillows to get into 1 o'clock in the morning, get into the bus. The parents leave us the kids, and everybody was leaving, So we get those 2 or 3 buses at 1 o'clock in the morning, and let's go, I was just talking all the time in those buses. I say, everybody got to sleep. Nobody say nothing, because there was a team that was supposed to play at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we was driving all night, arriving in Fort Wayne, Indiana, like an hour and a half or 2 hours before, get some breakfast and get ready to play, and it was a great experience because the players start getting together, a younger one at 13 years old dealing with a 18 years old. I was making sure that happens all the time. So that experience is priceless. They're learning how to working alone, how to find their own way. There was no parents, there was nobody there except me, the coaches, the players, and few chaperones, and that was it. And those experiences in the buses they all know that. I still see some of those players now that are older, and they told me, Cacho, that was fantastic. That was great. For whatever reasons, but in the buses, it was okay. We was making sure then the hotels was okay. We put 3 or 4 sometimes per room. It was a time to get up, a time for eat, a time for rest. So it was very well organized, that part, because, all the kids was travel along. Parents was gone. Parents could go after, stay in the hotel there. They could go watch the game. But the player was just coming with us, all the players. So we control everything, and they know each other. People who were coming sometimes for another clubs, it was having a great experience. They meet other people and they didn't know, and they become friends right there in the bus, because in the bus we was Saturday at 1:00 in the morning, and we come back home Sunday like at 2:00 in the morning. So it was 2 days, and everybody was just eat, breathe, sleep, soccer, and in the buses, at one point get the time. If you're tired, it's hard to get comfortable. But they got fun. They enjoy it, and building character, building personality, building just self-responsibility. The kids, 13 years old, alone. Sometimes some of them alone for the first time, no parent. They go along. They see the parents after a game, and they play. The parents was there, hey, but I have mom, dad, I got to go with the team. We're going to eat, or we got to go rest. So they become, very responsible. They learn how to deal with things alone. And I think that is part of life. That is something that I think personally was tremendously helpful for all those kids. And that is why here I say, and this is, people don't know yet until we start doing it. We can say anything right now. Some of them, they will say, okay, all right, let's go see guys. Whereas I have people today, friends, and some of those kids, and they now become women's or men's with families, some of them, and say, Cacho, I can't forget those days. Some of them, they did from U13 to U19, went every year to the Super Y. And they was just doing it because they say, Cacho, that was one of the best time of my life. Every year, knowing I was going to do those 3 or 4 weekends and then qualify for nationals. They can't forget about that. And that's why I said the Super Y League give you the chance that in a short period of time, meet another people, meet another players for another clubs, get together, dealing with 13 years old, with 18 years old or 19 years old. And now it's going to be even younger, 11 years old. They can go in the same bus with the U19 player, I will make sure that the U19 sit with the U11 and talk. I will make sure that happens. Why? Because that is experience, and I always say, you can't buy the experience in the supermarket, and that's why I think the Super Y League, I'm happy we have it. Andy make a great job with that. I think it's going to be fantastic. This is going to be great for everybody.
What do you think it means to FC Milwaukee Torrent as an organization to be entering the Super Y with 11 teams?
To me, first of all, this is a great accomplishment. 11 teams in the first year. It doesn't happen. I've been, I'm going to see a lot of the old guys because they're still in the Super Y League, and some of those trips, I don't know if I can go every day or every time we travel, but I'm sure some of the guys that I know from the old time, they're still there, they're still there. That will be great, but accomplish and bring 11 teams in the first year. That is a fantastic accomplishment. That's, and I think personally, I told Andy and say, and we don't even start to play in the spring season. So probably there's going to be more kids try to sign up to get there. And maybe, I don't know, maybe even make more teams, because a lot of people will realize now, hey, some plans change and they got nothing to do in the summer. So what are they going to do in the summer? Oh, Super Y League. Yeah. It probably that is going to happen. But I think that's great, for the league. I don't think the league ever have a club who enter the first year with 11 teams. I will be surprised if they tell me. Hey, I know some of those guys. I know it will be surprised for me. Then they told me, there's one club. I will say, which club? Tell me. I don't know if a club before entered the first year with 11 team, and the possibility is not done yet to get even more before we start the season. So that is fantastic, and I think what the Torrent is doing, and use also the Strike FC, that's great. In my point of view, I've been there before, and I told Andy always, I like what he's doing. I like what Torrent is giving to the community, and if people realize and knows how to use it for their kids, it is fantastic. It is great. There is all the people, parents of those kids, who are telling me today, Cacho, I can't forget those days. So a lot of those people also, when find out about this, some of them, they call me and they say, this is going to be great again for kids. I say, hey, this is fantastic, So I think Andy do a great job with this. I think everybody who's taking advantage of this situation, this experience, they will never forget. They will never, because it's priceless, and especially for the kids who will travel with the team, with players, with teammates, and they're older, and that is not something that, like I say, you got to experience that. You cannot buy it in the supermarket, So it is going to be great, and I think the Torrent is doing a fantastic job with this,
Coach, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for the time today.
No, I appreciate it, and once again, whatever you need me, where you can find me.
All right.
So thank you.
Thank you,
everybody.
We are excited to be joined by our final guest. Alex Tozer now joins the show. Alex is a veteran of many different professional soccer teams. He has a resume that includes the Milwaukee Wave and the St. Louis Ambush. Alex is going to be coaching 2 teams for the Torrent in the Super Y, the boys 2010 team and the boys 2006-2005 combined team. Alex, welcome to the show.
Hey, Luke, thanks for having me.
Oh, it is our pleasure. And you have a unique experience because not only are you going to be coaching in this league, but you also played in this league when you were younger. Can you tell us a little bit about your playing days in the Super Y?
Yeah, that's when I was part of the Mech One United. Cacho was there, who is now part of the Super Y program as well, and the men's head coach. And I believe it was Sergio and Lito who were the staff coaches there, who were coaching us at the time. And they introduced it as a way to keep us competitive year round, or, have that team chemistry for a few months longer. Because as we all know, outdoor soccer competitively for most of the clubs in the area, and especially the region, kind of take like a hiatus for a little bit. So it was great to continue to keep the boys together, train. And then it was awesome to obviously go to those competitive host weekends and travel as a team. So overall, it just made the summer that much more enjoyable for all of us.
What are some of your favorite memories of playing in the league?
Honestly, it was, just to keep playing, to not really, take a break at all. I think that's kind of what we all, really were itching for. But, honestly, it was more so just the team memories and bonds that we had. And, I grew up with some of my, closest friends to this day I still talk to. I know, there was like this player, Sean LaFleur, defender, very, very good. At the same time, Will Hagrup, he played for a little bit, but then Nico Zabala, who was, Lito's son, I grew up with him. Still he's in the area. phenomenal player. But one of my best friends, Casey Shelby, and Charlie James, who we played multiple sports together. So it was really, really cool to kind of, solidify great bonds with some of those players and athletes, but then at the same time to continue to be coached by some of the best staff coaching in the state at the time. If you ask me, Lito Zabala, who is, a former pro, learning from him. And he's still doing great things. I know he's been with Cacho with the Torrent, and then obviously Cacho, whose resume is very, very impressive. So, development and, as a young youth athlete off the field, it was just a great atmosphere altogether.
And you talk about resumes, but your resume, even beyond your playing resume, is pretty impressive. You have a lot of coaching experience. You've coached with youth clubs in the Milwaukee area. You've done varsity programs in Milwaukee. What is it about your Super Y experience that, as a player, that you think maybe you can bring as a coach to those kids that you're going to be taking charge of this summer?
Yeah, I mean, I've been youth coaching now. It's definitely a strong passion of mine for 10 years now. Most of the Super Y kids that I'm coaching for in the age groups are players that I've seen in the area or had the pleasure of coaching presently or in the past. But obviously I've seen on the rosters and some signups as well that there's some new faces that I'm looking forward to, kind of sharing my knowledge of the game. But I do say that my experience from, playing at various youth levels, Super Y, going to, regional events and everything, playing select, obviously in my earlier days, it was rec, then going, to high level high school, and then obviously beyond that. So just kind of showing the players, it doesn't really matter what avenue you want to take in this game. Cause, I played, outdoor, I played futsal, I played competitive high level outdoor, competitive indoor. I think at the end of the day, it's just about the overall development and being able to teach each player to really accommodate their needs. And I think that's kind of my versatility of, I never thought I was going to really play indoor, following my old man. I always wanted to shoot for outdoor, but definitely having that hybrid, it's definitely made me a very versatile and flexible coach.
So this is going to be the Torrent's first year in Super Y, obviously. So all these teams are going to be brand new, and they're going to be kids from a lot of different associations on your team that have never played together. How do you go about building cohesion among a new group like that?
Honestly, it's just, for me as a player, you hope that the coach has your best interest at heart. And once you have that, and you have that, that one, goal or idea, and you unify that, then the team chemistry kind of just, falls into place, and the players grasp that idea, and it really starts to show on the field. So honestly, it's just developing that trust, showing my players that, hey, I've got your back. After the first week of training, we'll see kind of, I guess our standards set a goal for the team throughout, the 6 weeks that we're together and everything, and, really get to work and kind of show the boys like, hey, we're here to do work. We're here to, make you better. But at the same time, we got to come together and see overall as a group, what's our team goal. So a little bit of communication in the first week, kind of setting our standards. But at the end of the day, it's just to show them that, hey, every time you step on the field, we're here to do work, and your best interest is mine, and that's to achieve great things, win obviously, and get better. So I think that's kind of what any player wants, and at the same time, I wear the badge just as they do. So it's not this is the way we're playing, this is my team. No, it's our team. So kind of showing that we all wear the crest, we're a family, we're here to battle together.
What are you hoping that these kids, when the season ends, and hopefully it ends with a national championship, but if it doesn't, either way, what do you want these kids to kind of walk away with after completing their first year of Super Y?
I just want them to go back, to their respective clubs, just with a progression of where they left off in the spring season, and to really show players because, we always push players to keep playing and everything, to work on their own. And, dedicating yourself to Super Y or, any other program outside of, your respective club duties is kind of dedicating yourself a little bit more. And it's showing them that hard work, continuing to dedicate yourself to your craft will pay off in the long run. And, obviously with, today with everything being kind of instant gratification with technology and communication, it's kind of really hard to see, growth in a short term. And I hope that after the 6 weeks and everything, where they go back to their club and maybe some of their players that maybe took that, summertime off, maybe did a camp here and there, they'll be able to see it more firsthand, and see, wow, coaches, they're not so dumb all the time when they're saying, hey, you got to keep, training and, get a few touches here and there on the ball every day. So that's kind of what I hope for. And then I'll, at the same time, revitalize that passion for the game. So when they hit the fall season with their club, it's back to business and they're focused, and their club coaches are going, what they did in the summer, whatever they were doing. And, the players will say, yeah, super wide. They'll say, hey, they're doing great things. So that's kind of, the overall goal.
And lastly, what are you most looking forward to about taking on these two Super Y teams?
I get to continue to coach. I don't get to take a break, so that's always a great thing for me. But I'm just looking forward to a new challenge. It's been a hiatus for the Super Y program in the area of Wisconsin, so it'll be kind of cool to get back to that. But at the same time, just being around some of my players that I know are in the program, but at the same time, just being able to keep teaching and growing the game of soccer. Because at the end of the day, I think if you ask any coach from whatever club they're at, or whatever region or part of the world they're at, it's you love the game and you get into coaching to teach and continue, that cycle. So I guess that's what I'm looking forward to the most is, keep educating the youth of the game.
Alex Tozer, coach of two of the boys FC Milwaukee Torrent Super Y teams. Thanks for joining us today.
All right. Thanks, Luke.
With that, we have reached the end of another episode. Thank you for listening to Anchored in Milwaukee, sponsored by Atlanta Mortgage, Sobelman's Pub, Associated Bank, and Arenda Cafe. If you'd like to learn more about sponsoring the club, please email sales@milwaukeetorrent.com. If you want to support the show, you can like, subscribe, leave a review, or tell a friend about us. Anchored in Milwaukee is available on all major podcast platforms. To get more information about FC Milwaukee Torrent and Bayer Leverkusen Camp, or men's tryouts, season ticket specials, new merch, or to find out the latest on the team, please visit the Torrent website, www.milwaukeetorrent.com. Also check out the Torrent on Facebook and Twitter @Milwaukee Torrent. A big thanks to our guests, FC Milwaukee Torrent founder and owner Andy Davi, men's head coach Carlos Cordoba, and Y-League coach Alex Tozer. This episode was produced by Jaden Stevenson. I'm your host, Luke Neitzel. Until next time, stay anchored together.